In this video, we'll discuss about the concept of complex power. So the term complex power has been coined by power engineers, that is power system engineers, and we are going to discuss about the various components of power involved. Okay, so this complex power is a term which gives all the information related to the power absorption by a load. So we know that we have different kinds of load devices that is being used in the industrial sector as well as household devices. So let us take a simple example of a fan. So a fan is an electric load. So this, depending upon the impedance of the fan, the power consumed by it will vary, right? So we're going to discuss about the concept of complex power. So here first let us consider the circuit here. So we have a load device which has an impedance of Z. So let us consider a fan, so which has an impedance Z. So we are connecting it to a supply. So that is a voltage supply, which is V. So from this supply it acquires a current I, so that this fan will operate. So we are going to discuss about the complex power involved here. Now, so given the phasor form, V, you can see that V is written in capital like a vector V. So in phasor form, V can be written as Vm angle theta V. Vm angle theta V. Similarly, I in phasor form can be written as Im angle theta I of voltage V of t and current I of t. So complex power is denoted by the term, you can see that it is again represented in phasor capital S, right? It is like a vector S. Now you can differentiate between the apparent power term S and the complex power term S. You can see that here the apparent power is denoted as S, just a capital letter S, whereas complex power is denoted as a vector S in capital form. Okay, you can differentiate it here. So a complex power S absorbed by the AC load is the product of voltage and complex conjugate of current. So again, complex power is the product of voltage and complex conjugate of current. So complex power S is equal to 1 by 2 V into I conjugate, so I star. Okay, so here let us substitute the RMS values. So complex power S can be represented as phasor V RMS into phasor I RMS star. Okay. So how can we attain this? We know that Vrms is equal to V by root 2. So Vrms, phasor Vrms is equal to phasor V by root 2. We know the value of phasor V here, right? Substitute it here, we will get Vm by root 2 angle theta V. So that Vm by root 2 can be written as Vrms. Similarly, IRMS is equal to phasor I by root 2. Phasor I can be written as this one, that is I is equal to Im theta I. So instead of this I, let us substitute Im angle theta I. So Im by root 2, we will get IRMS angle theta I. So now this complex power is equal to Vrms IRMS angle theta V minus theta I. Now this equation, we can see that this can be written in the complex form as Vrms Irms. Angle theta v minus theta I can be written as cos of theta v minus theta I plus j sine of theta v minus theta I. Now this becomes the real part and this becomes the imaginary part of complex power, right? So here the magnitude of the complex power is the apparent power. So if you can see that here from this, the magnitude of this complex power is Vrms into Irms, which is nothing but the apparent power, right? So this has a unit of volt amperes. And we can also notice that angle of complex power is nothing but the power factor angle. So complex power can also be expressed in terms of load impedance. Load impedance Z is equal to V by I. So Vrms by Irms, which is actually equal to Vrms by Irms angle of theta V minus theta I. So complex power is nothing but apparent power, a product of apparent power and power factor angle. So here Vrms can be written as Z into Irms. So substitute it in this equation, that is in this equation we can obtain complex power as Vrms square into Z or Vrms square by Z star. We know that Z is a complex quantity. Z is a term called impedance. Impedance is equal to R plus Jx, where R is called as resistance and J is called as reactance. So substitute it here, we will be getting S is equal to Irms square into R plus Jx. So this can be written as another complex quantity with real part P and imaginary part Q. So S is equal to P plus JQ, right? So where P is this term P is the real part of S and Q is the imaginary part of S multiplied by this one, right? So that is what is written here. P is the real part of S. What is the real part of S? Irms square into R. So this is the real part of real part of S. And Q is the imaginary part of S. Imaginary part of S is Irms square into X. Is the imaginary part of S. Now P is called as the average or real power, and this depends upon the value of resistance, load resistance. Whereas Q term is the imaginary part of S and it depends upon load reactance, and that's why it is called as reactive power or quadrature power. Now we have seen four different terms of power. One is complex power, apparent power, real power and reactive power. Okay, so comparing the equation, that is 11.44, that is this equation, with this one, we can write P is equal to Vrms Irms cos of theta V minus theta I, and Q is equal to Vrms Irms sine of theta V minus theta I. So term P is called as real power, which is nothing but the average power, and the unit of average power is watts, and this is the only useful power, that is the power which is actually dissipated by the load, okay, and which is called as real power. And this real power is related with the term resistance. Next power is reactive power, which is denoted by Q, which is nothing but the measure of energy exchange between source and the reactive part of the load. reactive part of the load is nothing but the elements inductive or capacitive. So that only contributes to the term reactance. So here the unit of Q is reactive power. So it is volt ampere reactive. Since this is reactive power, to distinguish it from the real power, we have a unit of volt ampere reactive. Now we know that the storage elements, that is either the inductor or capacitor, it does not have the capacity to consume power, right? It can either, it can only exchange the power back and forth. It can store, discharge, that is what it can do, right? So reactive power is always related to the circuit components, inductance and capacitance. So that's why it represents a lossless exchange between load and source. Now, depending upon the value of reactive power, we can classify the loads, right? So if Q is equal to 0, first of all let us be thorough with what are the powers. So S is a power called apparent power, and capital S vector is called as complex power, and P is called as real power, and Q is called as reactive power, right? So this Q, if the value of Q is 0, let us substitute it here. Value of Q is 0, what does it mean? We don't have the imaginary part, so S will be equal to P. So complex power is actually equal to the real power. This happens only when the reactance is 0. So we will get the unity power factor. If Q is less than 0, what does it mean? We will have a term minus here. If Q is negative, we will have minus here. When can we get minus here? You would have noticed that in the phasor form, capacitance are denoted as minus J2 ohms, and inductance are represented as J, simply positive J, some value of inductance, let us assume as 3 Henry, J3. So capacitance, it has a term minus, and inductance has a term plus. So when Q is negative, it means the load is capacitive. If the load is capacitive, we know that we will be having a leading power factor, because current will lead the voltage. Similarly, if Q is greater than 0, it means that this term is positive. That means we have an inductive load, and we have a lagging power factor. Lagging power factor is current lags the voltage. Now let us define this term complex power. Complex power is the product of RMS voltage phasor and the complex conjugate of RMS current phasor. So as a complex quantity, real part is the real power and imaginary part is the reactive power, because S is equal to P plus JQ. Now let us summarize all the concept which we have studied till now. So complex power is denoted by phasor S, which is actually P plus JQ. P is real power, Q is reactive power, which is actually equal to phasor of VRMS into complex conjugate of phasor of IRMS. So this can be written as magnitude of VRMS, IRMS, angle of theta V minus theta I. So this magnitude VRMS, IRMS is the apparent power, and real power is real part of this complex power, which is nothing but S into cos theta V minus theta I, and Q is the reactive power, which is nothing but the imaginary part of this S. Imaginary part of this S is S into sine of theta v minus theta I. S is here apparent power. So Vrms, Irms cos theta v minus theta I is the real power. Here S is Vrms, Irms sine of theta v minus theta I. Now next is power factor. We know that it is the ratio of real power to the apparent power, which is nothing but cos of theta v minus theta I. Now this complex power can be written in the form of a power triangle. You can see that this is a power triangle and this is a impedance triangle. You can see that the x part is here is resistance and this is reactance, and this hypotenuse is the magnitude of Z, which is impedance. Similarly, we know that the term P is real power and Q is reactive power and S is complex power. So in power triangle there are 4 quantities associated: real power, reactive power, complex power and the power factor angle. So given any two at a time, we can find the other two parameters. Now if you take this power triangle here, if the complex power lies in the first quadrant, then we can assume that we have an inductive load and we have a lagging power factor. If the complex power lies in the fourth quadrant, then we have a negative reactive power, that is the load is capacitive, and we will have a leading power factor. So this complex power can also take the second and third quadrant, and that is possible only with the active circuits. Now we are discussing about the passive circuits. So this is about the power triangle. Now let us discuss some numerical problems related to the complex power. So the problem statement is the voltage across a load is V of t is equal to 60 cos of omega t minus 10 volt, and the current through the element in the direction of voltage drop is I of t is equal to 1.5 cos omega t plus 50 amperes. Find first one complex power and apparent power, second real and reactive power, third power factor and load impedance. Let us first give the terminologies for this. Complex power is represented by S, apparent power is represented by S. This is capital S. Notice the difference. This is complex power, this is apparent power. Real power, it is denoted by P, and reactive power, it is represented by Q. Then power factor, which is nothing but cos of theta v minus theta I, and then load impedance, which is Z. So first let us start with expressing this V of t and I of t in phasor form. So the RMS values of voltage and current can be written as, so first let us describe this in phasor form. So V of t can be written as 60 angle of minus 10 volts. So Vrms is Vm by root 2, then angle of minus 10. Similarly Irms is Im by root 2 angle of 50. So this is Vrms and Irms. Complex power is Vrms into complex conjugate of Irms. Substitute the values and find the value of complex power. Now apparent power is nothing but the magnitude of complex power. So which is nothing but 45, and the unit of apparent power is volt amperes, right? So next is we have to find out the real power and reactive power. Real power P is equal to So we know the factor of complex power. So this S can be written as in rectangular form as this. So this rectangular form here, this is P and this part is Q. So P is the real power and Q is the reactive power. So P is 22.5 watts. This is real power, so the unit is watts. Next is reactive power. So from the reactive power is minus 38.97 and the unit of reactive power is volt ampere reactive, VAR. So we can notice that we have a term minus. It means that the load is capacitive and we have a leading power factor. So power factor can be found out using cos of theta V minus theta I. So the angle from this is minus 60. So cos of minus 60 is equal to 0.5 and we have a leading power factor because the load is capacitive. Because here it is leading because reactive power is negative. We get reactive power negative only when we have a capacitance. Next is load impedance. Load impedance is V by I. So substitute the value of V and I and find out the value of Z. So here also you can notice that you have a minus angle. So it denotes the capacitive impedance. This is another problem. A load Z draws 12 kilovolt ampere at a power factor of 0.856 lagging from a 120 volt RMS sinusoidal source. Calculate average and reactive powers delivered to the load, peak current and load impedance. What is given? We have a load Z which draws a 12 kilovolt ampere power. So volt ampere is the unit of apparent power. So the given power is nothing but apparent power S. Apparent power S. Okay. S is given as 12,000 volt ampere. Next, what is given? The power factor of 0.856 lagging. So they have given it as lagging. It means the load is inductive and the power factor value is 0.856. It means cos theta value is 0.856 and they have given the voltage as 120 RMS voltage. So VRMS is equal to 120 volts. These are things they have given. What we have to find out? We have to find out average and reactive power. So P and Q we have to find out. S is given. So how can we find out P? And cos theta value is also given, right? So we can find P as P is equal to S cos theta. S is apparent power into cos theta. So this will give you the value of real power. Q is S sin theta. So will give you the value of reactive power. Now real power, it is expressed in watts. Reactive power is expressed in volt amperes. Next, what we have to find out? We have to find out the value of peak current. So we know that S is equal to P plus JQ. So we can write S as P plus JQ. We have found out P and Q. From that we can find out the value of S. So from S we can find out the value of I, right? That is what we have to find out. We have to find out the value of peak current. We have to actually find out IM value. IM. So if we can find out IRMS, we can calculate IM, right? That is the concept here. So from complex power we can write IRMS star is equal to S by VRMS. Substitute the value of S and VRMS and find out the value of I star. I star is the complex conjugate of sorry, IRMS star is the complex conjugate of IRMS. So IRMS is equal to magnitude is same. You can notice that the angle is negative because we have removed the conjugate. Okay, so this will be negative. So this is the value of IRMS. So we can find the peak current. IM is equal to root 2 into IRMS, because IRMS is equal to IM by root 2. That is the formula. So rearrange and find out the value of IM. So this is the value of peak current. Next is we have to find out the value of load impedance. Load impedance Z is equal to VRMS by IRMS. VRMS is, they have given us 120 volt angle 0, and IRMS is this. So from that calculate the value of Z.